Hello, everyone. I'm Lena Argiri with Kathimerini and Greek Public Broadcasting, and I'm pleased to be joined by my colleague, Matthew Boyle, Washington Bureau Chief, Breitbart News. Welcome, Matthew. Thank you for taking the time.
Yeah, thank you for having me. And frankly, this conference has been incredible. I've learned a lot. It's my first trip to Greece, and it's been amazing.
So, first of all, how does it feel to be the favorite journalist or one of the favorite journalists of the new U.S. administration and the president personally? I mean, the access that you have really makes me and the rest of the press corps back in D.C. jealous. What's your secret? How do you do it?
Well, look, there's a great responsibility that comes with this because there's a lot going on in the world right now, as we all know, right? And so keeping up with what the president's doing, it is a lot of work. And so, what steps is he going to be taking? What are the people around him doing? What is the end game? What is the goal? What's coming around the corner? It's a lot of work. But that being said, it is also the time of our lives. We're excited. It feels like there's a great new energy that has been injected into the United States, in our political system, in our media. It's exciting again, right? Like Trump made journalism exciting again. So among many things,
sleeps.
yeah.
Okay,
yes,
so
yes.
we're witnessing the remaking of America and the world. And, I would like you to help us understand the changes taking place, and I'm sure that you agree with most of them. Let's start real quick with the domestic front, because I would like to focus more on how the world and our region is changing as a result. So how different will America be in 4 years from now?
I think America is going to be a lot stronger 4 years from now. You're seeing what Trump is doing on everything from our national security front to our economic front to our law enforcement and immigration front. He is fortifying and strengthening the United States of America. It's very similar to some of the steps that Ronald Reagan took back in the 1980s. And I'd argue that, and I think the president would agree, and I think that many of the people that work throughout the Trump administration would agree with this as well, that a strong America is good for the world. And look, we're the shining city on a hill. We are the beacon of hope and freedom for the world, and as contrasted with forces of darkness and evil out there on the other side of the planet. There is the way the president sees things, and obviously we've had a whirlwind ride here the last week or so with the whole tariffs and trade discussion. But I keep telling everybody the vision is that the president looks at it like we are at economic war with China, not with Europe, not with Africa, not with Latin America, with China.
Okay, let's start talking about tariffs. You mentioned tariffs, and I would like you to help me understand the president's thinking. I mean, it's like I know that you know. That's why I'm asking, because you speak to the president. So, what is the rationale behind this highly controversial decision?
Well, I think the results over the last 10 days really speak for themselves. And he doesn't go out there and explain it because he doesn't want to tip off our adversaries as to what he's doing. But what happened? He exposed China as the aggressor here in a trade conflict with the United States. The whole world can see it now. China was the one that responded in force with nasty. The Chinese Communist Party is currently spreading, they did this yesterday, on their US Embassy X account, Twitter account, they're spreading Mao propaganda, right? Like this is an entity that has tried to act like that they, ditched the ways of the past of the Maoists. Mao killed many people, right? Like almost maybe worse than Stalin. And so the fact is that I think China has been exposed as being the force of evil here. And I think with the president, that's what he was trying to do. And I think he's succeeded. At the same time, he's trying to rebalance the U.S. Economic relationship with the world. And I think that there's a lot of energy towards that. I spoke with the Prime Minister here in Greece, Mitsotakis, about this, and the President responded to it while we were here, so the major international news there. The Prime Minister said he believes that there's a win-win deal that's mutually beneficial that can be reached between the United States and the European Union. The President said he agrees with that. The European Union President said she agrees with that. I think you are seeing a number of other countries open to discussions with the United States. I think the President and the White House have said that more than 75 countries have reached out to the United States after this, from Japan to South Korea, the European Union, obviously, and more.
Okay,
and,
but I mean, if China is the main target here, why don't we just focus on China? Why should we drag the global trade system into this uncertainty? And also, why this back and forth?
Just like when Ronald Reagan gave the Evil Empire speech to wake up the world to the threat of the communism from the Soviet Union, which, by the way, the U.S. would go on to win the Cold War and defeat the Soviet Union. The Soviet Union broke up, the Berlin Wall came down. President Trump is waking up the world. Right? Like, sometimes our friends in Europe need to be dragged kicking and screaming along to join us in the fight. The president views this as an existential threat to humanity. Okay. And I think that he's right about that. Sometimes, you know, our friends need a little bit of a wake-up call. Okay, but they're joining the cause.
What about the American people? Are they ready to join the fight? I mean, are they
they voted for it in November.
Economic pain today in order to help the president build a better America in the future?
Yeah, well, I mean, that's what the American people voted for in November. They know what they were voting for. The president was extremely clear with the public. If you go back and look at all of his speeches, interviews, I mean, I've interviewed him a bunch of times during the campaign last year. I was with him a few weeks ago in the Oval Office. The fact is that I think he was extremely clear about what he was going to do, and he's doing that right now. The American people know.
Blink. He's not going to blink.
I don't think so, not even close. No, President Trump is not blinking. And those who framed his decision to do a 90-day pause on everybody but China as him blinking, I think they've got it wrong. I think that he is following the plan that he has set out to do, and I think that the president has long intended to again focus here on this, and he succeeded in exposing China. The world can see it now. Can you guys see what we've been seeing? Right, like the Chinese Communist Party is the aggressor. They are the threat. They are the people that have raided the American heartland for the last 20, 30 years. When America won the Cold War and defeated the Soviet Union, what happened? Communism didn't go away. It wasn't gone, dead, and buried. Where did it go? It moved from Moscow to Beijing. And so one of the things that I think you're seeing is from the president is he's trying to wake the world up to this. And you saw the actions that he took during his first term in the White House. You know, a lot of people would criticize, and did criticize him for meeting with Kim Jong-un, for instance. That is about China. A lot of his relationships with Shinzo Abe from Japan, who obviously was assassinated, that was about China, right?
Okay.
Like, everything he's doing is about China.
Okay, let's move to the region where we are here. And Matthew, you have a good understanding of how the U.S. administration views the Eastern Mediterranean, specifically the IMEC project, and where Greece and Cyprus might fit in. What can you share?
Yeah, so I've spoken to the president about IMEC in particular. I asked him about it in our interview with him a few weeks ago. We spent a few hours with him in the dining room off of the Oval Office, the president's private dining room, me and two other Breitbart journalists. And he called it a group of wonderful countries. He likes the idea, and he didn't say the word China, and he's very careful about how I know, contrary to popular belief, he is very careful about everything that he says and when he says it and how he says it. It may not look that way, but he is thinking through every single move he makes, every comment he makes. It's all by design. But he didn't say it was about China, but he talked about how it's the IMEC corridor is designed to counter nations that have been hurting us, right? Like, so again, he's making it pretty clear. I think that the IMEC corridor fits. It is basically the West's answer to the Belt and Road Initiative from China. But through Belt and Road, China has been engaged in debt diplomacy, where they come with a big pile of cash to a country that's in need. They promise all sorts of things, and then this country, without reading the terms and conditions, right? When you scroll through on your iPhone and you say, "Click, I agree," they don't read it, and then all of a sudden, when they finally do read it later, they realize that, oh my gosh, they just signed over their port or their rail system or the huge parts of their country to the Chinese Communist Party. The West is building a trade corridor to counter that. That's what IMEC is. It's the first answer to it. It goes from India through the Middle East, and this is why the Abraham Accords are so important, right? So expanding the Abraham Accords, getting the Saudis on board, that is a major priority of President Trump. I know that. Let's put it this way. It's not an accident that the president and his administration have been hosting a number of the talks between the Russians and the Ukrainians in Saudi Arabia. They're drawing attention to Saudis. So they need the Saudis to join. So then it goes through UAE, Saudi Arabia, through Israel, then to Cyprus, then to Greece. And Greece is the gateway, if you will, into Europe, and then over to the United States. So the way to look at IMEC is that, and this is what the Prime Minister told me in our interview earlier this week here in Greece. He said, it is, and I'm paraphrasing him here, but this is pretty close to the exact quote. I don't have the exact quote in front of me. That on one side you have the world's strongest democracy in the United States. On the other side, you have the world's largest democracy in India. And right here in Greece, in the middle, the holds it together, you have the birthplace of democracy.
Okay, since we're talking about the Middle East, I would like to turn to the troublemaker of the region, Turkey.
Sure.
And you have been quite vocal on the F-35's issue,
Sure.
and we appreciate that. What do you know? What people close to the president are telling you? What do you think is going to happen?
So I've seen reports out there. I think there was a Fox News story few weeks ago that suggested that the president, in his phone call with Erdogan, and he speaks highly of Erdogan, he gets along with the guy, that he was considering re-entering the Turkey into the F-35 program. I don't have an on-the-record answer from anyone in the administration, but everybody I'm talking to would suggest that they are unlikely to actually do the F-35.
Do they explain the reason why?
Well, first off, the President Trump in his first term was the one who removed Turkey from the F-35 program. So now, in addition to that, they also view Turkey as a malign actor in the region. Of course, everything that happened in Syria, right? Like Trump, when he was talking about Erdogan at the White House the other day with Prime Minister Netanyahu.
I was there. I was in the Oval Office, and I have to tell you that I was quite shocked. I mean, praising Erdogan while Bibi Netanyahu was sitting next to him. I mean, and what do you make of President's non-stop compliments?
I think that it's
Erdogan?
very similar to the way that he handles Putin, in that he doesn't want Erdogan to go run to China and side up with them. But at the same time, look at the specifics of what he said there when he was there. In the Oval Office there with Netanyahu. He said that Turkey, he congratulated Turkey on taking over Syria, right? Like, and so that's Trump being sarcastic, I think, about...
Do you think so?
I think so, a little bit.
Because this is the second time that he's saying the same thing.
Sure, but I don't think that Trump is looking to, empower the Erdogan regime. It's just that they're not... I don't think that that's the focus right now of the Trump administration. Again, the focus is on China, and what they don't want to see is an Axis power created where the Russians, the Iranians, the Turks all side with China, because that's going to make the bigger fight that we were talking about moments ago more difficult.
So you don't expect this personal relationship between the president and Erdogan to influence the U.S. foreign policy in the region moving forward?
No, I don't think so. And I think that, again, look at the way that he's handled other leaders around the world, whether it be Kim Jong-un, whether it be Vladimir Putin. He will have a dialogue with these people. He will talk to them. But then look at the actual policy, right? Like, for instance, with Vladimir Putin, there's one president this century where Vladimir Putin didn't invade another country. That was Donald Trump. He invaded a country under Bush. He invaded a country under Obama and under Joe Biden. So I think that the proof is in the pudding, right? Like, look at what Donald Trump actually does and how he handles it. So he's he's stringing these guys along a little bit, I think.
So we only have 2 minutes left, and I would
Sure.
like to ask you if you think that the world is prepared for the collapse of the global order as we knew it. What do you think? Because this is what we're witnessing, whether we agree with it or not.
Well, I don't know if the global order as we knew it is the best setup, right? Like, so I think that what Trump is doing is, well, that may be true or may not be true. I don't know. He's building a better one, right? Like, again, that has America as the shining city on the hill, and he's putting together so all these other nations freaking out about the tariffs and whatnot. India, its commerce minister, was out there saying, quote, "It is the opportunity of a lifetime," right? So India is loving this. India is the world's largest democracy. They have more than 1 billion people there, right? Like, why are we dealing with China? Why won't we deal with them? Why don't we deal with other countries throughout the region? So I think what the president's doing is he's restacking the global order in a way that further advances American interests and the interests of those who believe in freedom, democracy in the West, right? Like, so, and again, a strong America is good for the West.
But how strong America can be without alliances?
Well, I think that our allies are with us on a lot of this stuff. 75 countries called the United States trying to work out a deal. Only one behaved
Only
the way
China,
they
and
did.
it is my understanding that India is also interested in a quick trade deal tariff deal with the US, right? India.
Well, yeah, I think India, in the U.S.-India relationship, White House officials have told us this. We did a big article about it recently, and we continue to track this storyline. People say that the U.S.-India relationship may be the most important bilateral relationship for the 21st century anywhere on the planet. And so I think that's right. I think that the U.S.-India relationship may define the new global order.
Matthew Boyle, thank you so very much for taking the time and for this discussion. Thank you all, ladies and gentlemen, for being here.